Hi, I'm Kevin Lewis, and this is Clever Fella, my show. My names go as far as Coach Mamba. You might hear me as I Give a Damn Man, because I do, and I'm going to show you that. We're going to get right back with you. Okay, this is my first show. Welcome. I have here a couple of guests. I have here Dr. Lewis. I have also here Delissia, the beautiful Delissia here, entrepreneur extraordinaire. Okay, we're going to start off by just introducing you to a couple of different topics that we're going to talk about. Things that I am interested in, things that I'm concerned about, things that I care about, and I hope you care about them as well. A couple of those things are health. Right now, I'll give you a little brief history of my health, and we'll kind of start up with that. Back in August of 2020, I weighed about 280 pounds. I loved Whataburger more than I loved life.
All right now.
I wasn't exercising. I was drinking alcohol. And I was dealing with the stresses of life by carrying them on my back. I all of a sudden started losing weight, needing to go to the restroom all the time. I knew something wasn't right. So went to the doctor like anybody else. They say, hey, well, I guess let me start checking some things. So they start checking me. I come to find out I have a A1C that's 11.5. I'm like, what's an A1C? Never heard of it. I had no idea what that was. Your sugar is 364. And what? Had no idea. No education. No knowledge of what to look for. The threat of it, I'd heard when I was a kid, my aunt, uncle, grandmother, he got she got the sugar. Had y'all heard that as well?
Yes,
back
yes,
in the,
she got
okay.
sugar.
Yeah, it was the sugar. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking they just ate too much
Yeah.
candy. You know, that was really the ideology that I had, the ignorance that I had. And come to find out, it's actually, if I'm not mistaken, I'll let you chime in on this, Dr. Lewis, but I'm hearing that it's more equated to the amount of meat that you eat, more so than it is the sugar. Am I wrong on that? Or
I don't think that's completely accurate in what you're saying. But we have found that we are way off course and way off target when it comes to identifying diabetes, and that's what you're speaking of. The diabetes we're finding out has a lot of branches and a lot of other involvement. And so just to, matter of fact, we have really started to look at it as insulin resistance instead of, we used to think about diabetes was caused because your pancreas is not putting out insulin. But in these latter years, we found out that it's more a problem with the body and the body's systems being resistant to the actions of insulin. And so that's where you get the diabetes now. It's more like insulin resistance, and instead of your pancreas is not putting out enough insulin.
It's just not accepting. When you say resistant,
it's your body, your systems, the biochemical systems that utilize glucose.
Okay.
And this is facilitated. That reaction is facilitated to a great degree by insulin.
Okay.
And that's why we've identified it as insulin resistance, and that's how they identify the diabetes associated with insulin hormone.
Now, most of the times when we find out about medicines, you get on a medicine, you stay on it forever, unless it's something like a cold or the flu or something like that. And that's the way life has been for me growing up. And I don't know, Delissia, have you seen it too? When your mom, dad, parents, uncles?
Actually, my granny, I
Okay.
used to remember her taking insulin shots every morning. She woke up, raised her little tummy up, and gave herself an insulin shot. So, doctor, when you say the resistance, is it that everybody's body cannot accept it? Is their pancreas can't accept that insulin that they're taking? Because is it like one size fit all?
You know, that's a very good point, because that absolutely is not the case. And that's one of my pet peeves with the way we are approaching health
Yes.
now. Uh, Scientifically, we understand and we know, and religiously and biblically, we know that everybody is different.
Yes, right.
Right.
Absolutely.
We depend on the fact that the fingerprints are different, you know,
Uniqueness.
and
Yeah.
Absolutely.
just down to that point. And so, what they've done with medicine now
Mm-hmm.
is to say everybody is the same,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's absolutely not true.
That's
We are
not.
as different as our fingerprints.
Or our blood type,
You know,
doctor.
Right.
well, yeah, and that's right. You know, and we've even sort of slanted that to where we can get them non-reactive and to tolerate just a little, somebody else's blood that has just a small difference. You know,
Them blood transfusions.
yeah,
Yes. Speak
has just
true.
You know, I got that sentence put on me, and that's what I looked at it as a sentence,
Say that again.
and I refused it.
Sentence.
I refused it. I refused to think that I would have to take that shot, because I'll tell you what I did. I got that stuff, and I got to feeling sorry for myself. I went and I wanted to be by myself. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I was mad at everybody that had offered me cake. I just wanted to blame the world. You know what I'm saying?
Waterburger,
Hey,
you
somebody
mad
else
at
got to
everybody.
take some of this heat, man.
Yeah.
Somebody else got to take some of this heat. And so, so what I ended up doing though is I ended up just getting off into myself and said, I'm going to learn. I know that just looking at, I came across Dr. Sebi, and rest his soul. I mean, I came across him saying, you do not have to do this and that on things that I just thought there was no other choice on. Once I saw those things, like him reversing these things that were terminal illnesses, then it told me that there's other things we need to look for. So I started looking. I refused to take that. I got that medicine at home right now, and I kept it, and I put it over to the side in the kitchen. So every day I go into the kitchen, I get a chance to look at that medicine. And I said, you know what? I got to do one thing is I got to keep it moving. So I kept it moving. And what I did is I went out and got 5 pair of walking shoes. I started walking. When I first started walking, I'm like, damn, half a mile. No. Mile. No. Mile and a half. No. And I kept it moving. And my mindset was keep it moving. And as long as I see benefits coming, I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm going to keep looking. And when I kept looking, the Most High just happened to put it in my lap. My uncle came across a therapy called metabolic transfusion. I'm like, what is this? Yeah, I don't know. And it had something to do with reversing the symptoms. And so I said, well, I want to know a little bit more about it. So then I start following him around, and we start going out and seeing what's going on. And mind you, I've been an insurance agent for the past 6 years, so I've been dealing with it on another side. He's dealing with it on the medical side. I'm dealing with it on the side of insuring those people, so I got to know what they call a formulary. That formulary is the prescriptions prescribed that you take on a daily basis.
Maintenance money.
Yeah, and I mean, some of them, and oh man, when you deal with seniors and you get a chance to see that, one thing you realize is you do not want that. You want to figure out ways to get around that. And so I'm one of these kind of people who's been a coach, was successful coaching, been in sales, consultative. I've done all those different things, and they've given me a roundness, a full roundness of the idea that at the end of the day, the main thing people want is safety, health, security, love.
Your health is your wealth.
Yeah. Yeah, going back this guy, Robert Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
At the very top of that pyramid was, what was it? Self-actualization. That's when you got everything else. But at the bottom of it is safety.
Mm-hmm.
We spend a lot of time up here. We ain't even got this handled. If you don't have a base, even if you get this set, what is it on?
Mm-hmm.
Where is there any stability? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Our health is our wealth.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And we're going to get on to talking about that therapy. I'll give you a little bit more about that in the sense that I know how important it is. Let's go with that from right now. I started taking that therapy. I saw my sugar numbers where they would say a sugar number, you're supposed to have it somewhere, I guess, around 100, 120 in that area right there.
Yeah, 120.
My sugar, they say, go ahead and eat cinnamon rolls, drink sugar coffee, eat donuts, and eat food before you come. I'm like, what? I'm thinking, man, what's getting ready to happen with this? They got to get my sugar numbers up. So I'm like, okay, wow, let me check this out, Sugar numbers got up to like a 247, so it's double. I'm thinking, man, I'm going to be sick. Guess what? After they set me up, put that system on me, I sat back and chilled. Hour later, they checked my numbers. The points, it went down 100. It was 147 in an hour's time. And this is without me taking medicines. This is with my body doing all of the metabolizing, with the help of this just setting the timing up for my body, putting my body back on time.
This is the therapy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what does the therapy entail? Like, you just walked in there and...
You walk in, they set you up with an intravenous. It's a little pump machine.
Gotcha.
The little pump machine basically is timed to go in and set insulin.
Okay.
Hits that then is set up where it gives you what they call in the science field homeostasis, which is balance. Okay. And so what happens is it's taking me back and saying, hey, you're supposed to be working. Well, the signal's going in there, and now it's hearing the signal. And it's responding. Think about it. Hey, it didn't die, didn't burn off, didn't disintegrate in your body. It's sitting there dormant.
Yeah.
It's sleep. Ladies and gentlemen, I just got to tell you this. I am now 226 pounds.
You look good, and you look good.
I'm trying to feel that. Hey, it's all up here. I'm going to try to get it all here, too. I want that six-pack by the end of the summer. I got 4 of them things. I'll get 2 more later on.
I love it.
But no, this weight I'm keeping.
Oh, gotcha.
I still do a lot of walking, but I got on a lot of different nutraceuticals that I'll end up at the end of this giving you a list of things that you can write down, give you an access to where you can get that stuff as well. That'll be on my Instagram and other places as well. But at the end of the day, I have to tell you this. My numbers got so low that they told me, you got to go home. That's how good it was. I sat there next to a guy who's been doing this for 12 years. He was blind in one eye, Unc. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was. He had lost the vision in his right eye, and it was from his 10 years of diabetes. And he went into the motor vehicle agency headquarters to get his license renewed, and he had to take a eye test, vision test. And so he said that the officer told him to read that line, and he said, "Read what?" Because they had covered his good eye.
He was blind.
Bless his heart.
He was blind.
Bless his heart.
And so, needless to say, he didn't get his license at that time, and he went back to his physician to talk about it, and they told him at that time that he had bigger things to worry about. They informed him that he was in renal failure from the diabetes, which is oh God, renal failure is one of the plagues of the diabetes and the results of having those elevated sugars. But and he was going to have to do dialysis.
Yeah.
So this was a kind of funny guy, He all field worker. They owned all fields, matter of fact, up in Oklahoma, and so he decided that he wasn't going to accept those diagnoses.
I know that's right.
For his life, and he's very spiritual. He's believes in God, a very strong Christian, but he set out to find another way. And so at that time, there was one company, McKesson, made the pump. You may have heard that name in the biological
McKesson,
industry, but they made a pump, as Kevin referred to. They made a pump that and programmed it to mimic what the pancreas would do biologically, the biorhythms of releasing
timing
insulin in terms of when you have a sugar challenge. And so that's the mechanical part of this, and that's the mechanical part of the treatment. And the pump is, it's maybe
small.
It's maybe 12 inches.
Asthma, they make asthma stuff too.
And so, so that's what he started taking. He started taking the treatment. Initially, he was taking the treatment once a week. He was driving from Oklahoma
and Wichita Falls too.
Down to here to get that once a week, and he continued. He improved so much that when he went back to his doctor 2 years later, he didn't go back to see this time. But when he tried to go, when he went back to get his license, get his driver's license, then his vision had improved to 20/30 in that eye.
Oh,
and
wow!
He's still seeing that eye to that eye. He still has vision in it, and has had no medical intervention for it. He is not on dialysis.
Never went.
He continues to work in the oil fields. He drives down here. It's just this mode of treatment that we keep referring to is metabolic syndrome treatment. And metabolic syndrome is just a snapshot. It's a picture of what's really going on in your body. And that it includes the truncal obesity and the hypertension and the heart disease and the diabetes and dementia, all of these things that are really from toxicities that have built up in the bodies, and more than likely have come from our diets.
I was just about to
We're going to talk about that one on another time. I got some stuff that's heat on that one now. I got some heat on that one.
I was going to ask you about that food.
Oh, my goodness. I got some heat for that.
But yeah, this, I think what most people don't consider, and what I don't think the medical community considers in treating diabetes, I'm family practice. That's my specialty. Board certified in family practice.
Woo woo.
I've done a fellowship in geriatric medicine because I practiced in the community where I grew up, and so as it aged, I thought that I needed to age and learn about aging a little more to take care of those people that I've grown up and grown to know, and I was blessed enough to be able to take care of my first grade teacher at the end of life, my third grade teacher at the end of life, just multiple classmates and their families that I've known my whole life. And so, that's a gift that the good Lord gave me. But there's so much, I think the villain, or the most notorious villain in this whole syndrome, is diabetes.
Yeah.
And as a geriatric physician, I take care of a lot of old people, over 75, people over 85.
I think he takes care of all of them. When I'm around him, I don't see nothing but everybody calling Dr. Lewis. So.
And so, but what has made me take so much time and be so interested in this therapy for metabolic syndrome is the fact that if I never see another patient that has to go to dialysis, won't hurt me a bit. I mean, that's the quality of life that people lose behind this diabetic disease is just unimaginable.
Yeah, and they've accepted it.
They
Our culture
don't.
accepted.
I mean, along with the depression that goes along with it. And I don't think, generally in our medical communities that they're looking at that whole picture. All that they're looking at a blood sugar. And this is, Kevin mentioned the A1C, hemoglobin A1C. That's the metric that everybody uses now. And so I get nurses calling me and they're all hysterical. Oh, Dr. Lewis, this patient's hemoglobin A1C is 9, 10. And that, and my response to them is, what do you want me to do about it? And that is and I say that to try to shock them back to reality. A1C is a 3-month metric. It's 3 months. And you can only treat that sugar right now. And so, to find out that your A1C is abnormal, is a good thing to know in treating diabetes, but you have to treat diabetes from hour to hour. You have to treat it constantly. And so that's a little snapshot every 3 or 6 months tells you really nothing.
Nothing, common sense.
It was a total lifestyle change for me. I stopped eating some of the things I ate until I got it under control, and I went back to eating some of them again. I'll be honest. I went from taking that medicine. I refused to take it. When I took those couple of shots for about the first couple of weeks, I got to where I couldn't see stuff. My vision was getting blurry, and it scared me. And so I just happened to talk to a buddy who I'd worked with for 10 years, and he says, hey, man, I just got diagnosed with that too. Don't take it. I'm like, you crazy? I ain't trying to die. He said, that's why I'm telling you, don't take it. I'm like, well, you got to tell me something real different than what I know so far. He said, listen, I'm working with some naturalists, blah, 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 whoop, whoop, whoop. And I have been able to clean my system out and get my numbers down. Now, a number that you want is under 6 with an A1C. I mean, 5, 6, 5, 7 is pre-diabetic. 5, 6 and under is not. So when you hit that 5.7, now they say you're getting ready to get into that mode. You're getting seasoned up. And so, just like I said, I was 11, 12. I was crazy, man. And so he says, don't take it. I didn't. That made me go to doing things. I started asking questions. What can I do? Cinnamon pills. Take a couple of cinnamon pills after you eat. Takes away that sugar, cleans out the pancreatic duct, so you don't have to worry about breaking it down. I have been hearing that's not a lot of money. That's something you can get this cheap, and it's a lot cheaper than the medicine, and it feels better. Drink more water. Okay. Drink more water. I mean, because you got to filter. You got to filter your system out. Yeah. 71% body, I think, and then 90% brain. Yeah. And so you think about it, and your water, and that she says that's good. You said that because water is so sensitive in our bodies. They did a test, got a petri dish, put some water in it, spoke over it, and wrote on it. Great. Got another one, wrote on it. Full. Froze them. They froze them. Okay, when they looked at them. The one that had positive made a perfect snowflake. The one that had negative looked like a distorted bomb had hit the water.
Mm.
Our water moves with what we say.
Yes, it does.
Okay? People have to understand that when I refused it, my body started accepting what I was telling it.
That's right. Speak
Okay?
it.
My body started accepting what I said to it. And I'm
Okay.
going to elaborate on that. I don't know if I got enough time right now. I'm good? Okay. What you say and what you think is what you get. I am a witness to it, and I can tell you, and I'll go into that. I was in a bad car wreck when I was 21 years old. It was one guy died, one guy was paralyzed from the waist down the rest of his life and lost his lower intestines. Another guy was comatose for 7 weeks, and he was like 40-something years old. He had the brain of a 17-year-old. And I was thrown out of the car. So I had my near-death experience. So we'll get into that. But because of that is the reason I'm here now. This is years ago, but it's brought me to this now. And now I have the full story, and I can break it down for you. And I have proof of what I've learned, and I want to share it with you. Welcome back to the Clever Fella Podcast. I'm here with Dr. Lewis and the wonderful Delissia, entrepreneur extraordinaire. And we're going to continue where we left off. What I was talking about was I had gone through a life change when I had a near-death experience at an early age. During that transition, I just remember being set back, getting thrown into water, saying I'm not ready to die yet, seeing a light, didn't know what that light was, just thought it was the sun, really.
Jesus.
And thought, well, I came out of it and said, I'm not ready to die yet. Saw that light. Next thing you know, I'm sitting my head up, I'm spitting water out, and I'm looking around, and what is going on? I knew we were in a wreck, though, because the last words that the driver said were turning around at me and saying, what do you think's going to happen to me in this car business? Because we were top salesmen. We were on a convention. Okay. And as he said that, he got airborne, and he came down into a 100-year-old oak tree at 60 miles an hour. It didn't go anywhere. So it just collapsed everything on us, and we just kind of went flying. But as the grace of God, I have lived through that and overcome that. But during that time, I lost the use of my whole left leg. I broke my whole pelvic, shattered it. I didn't know if I'd walk again. Matter of fact, I had dreams that I was Teddy Pendergrass because he had just got put in a wheelchair. And so I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be like him. And I was feeling sorry for him. Now I'm feeling sorry for myself. And then I thought, no, man, I can't take that. I can't take it. Happened to be laying in a hospital bed. A couple of weeks later, I had one surgery for 13 hours, another surgery for 6 hours. Then they tell me, you got to get all this blood. And I'm thinking, I'm getting all this blood. Why? That's because the surgery's going to take it away from you. I went through all that, Went through all that. And my mind's telling me, man, here I'm newly married. I got a baby on the way. I got to get back to my job. How am I going to do all this? Now I can't even. And so all those thoughts go through your mind. I just happened to be in the hospital. And at this time, I'm looking at the TV because I ain't got nothing else I can do. When I woke up, man, I had metal pins drilled in my right side, coming across to the other side, geometrically setting me back. I was so shattered at the time. Scar here, screws here, more screws than Frankenstein. I'm thinking, man, how am I going to ever overcome this?
My God.
Okay. So went through those surgeries. They say, hey, listen, you're in Lake Texoma. You're about 200 miles or 180 miles away from home. We're going to have to get you back. We can't put you in an ambulance. It's too rough of a ride. You'll break back again. So they helicoptered me from Texoma to Dallas to Baylor. When they shoved me in, mind you, I had those rods. They hit them. Now all that dirt went into my body. Now they're telling me I might have a threat of a bone infection that you can die from. So now I'm dealing with that as well.
Jesus.
So we get to the hospital, man. They get me traction. I'm all up here, and everybody's, oh. And I'm thinking, hey, I'm feeling bad enough. You ain't got to feel it for me at this point.
Like, Jesus,
Yeah,
take
man.
the wheel.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so in any case, I get in there, man, and I get a chance to watch an Oprah Winfrey show. Y'all, if people don't even know who Oprah Winfrey is nowadays for having a TV show, I don't think anymore. But at any case, I was watching the show, and there was a kid on there. And this kid had a tumor the size of they said, a golf ball or so, or a ping pong ball in his head, and he was going to die. He was terminal. Okay. And he came back, and when he came back 3 months later, it had shrunk. When he came back 6 months later, it was gone. So they're like, wait a minute. What happened here? What happened here? You know? And so what had happened is she asked this little kid, he was 8 years old, and what did you do? The doctors are like, hey, this is a miracle. He said, every night when I went to sleep, I prayed, and then I got in a rocket ship in my mind, and I would go down to that tumor like I was in my rocket ship, and I would bomb it. And all night I'd be working bombing that tumor.
Jesus.
And what he was doing was sending signals to his body. And his body was responding to it.
Yes.
And back then, all we could say was miraculous. Now, with the technology they got with electrocardiograms and things such as that, they've been able to measure brain activity. God said he had it in us.
That's right.
Okay? We're still trying to determine to the extent, from what I can tell, from all these different, you know.
Yeah, life and death.
Yeah, everybody has. Okay,
Yes,
I'm
life
not
and
going to go
death
into that.
is held in the power of the tongue. I'm agreeing with you. I got you.
Yes,
I believe what you're saying, King.
Yes. So at any case, what it brought me to was the idea that now every night I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to refuse this. And so when I got that bone infection, they had to give me medicine. They say, hey, we're going to have to give you medicine because your bone's starting to break down. Okay, they gave it to me. I start thinking, I need more bone. I need more bone. I need more bone.
Talk to them.
They went in, and you know what they did? They x-rayed me. 3 months later, I had more bone than I needed. Okay, now you got too much bone. We're going to get you out to the hospital, but a year later, we're going to have to come in and cut some of that out. A year later, the bone's gone.
God's time is not our timing, baby. A day to the Lord is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day. I'm with you.
So, the next step in that journey, well, in 10 years, we're going to have to take all that metal out of your body. And we'll see what we got at that point. That's been... Wow.
You don't tell your age?
I would have had to have done that, and that would have been 98. So I've had it now 35 years.
35 years, yeah.
Longer than I was supposed to. And
Look at God.
I don't have no pain.
Won't he do
I
it?
walk 10,000 steps at a time. I don't limp. And I fell off a ladder in 2014 and broke it. And you know what? They gave me an artificial hip. And I ain't lost a beat. I don't feel no pain. I don't get arthritis. I don't get stiff.
Were you always a spiritual man?
I was always hard-headed.
I was about to because you know, Paul was Saul, and he was blind for 3 days.
Hey,
so.
my best buddy at the time came out of it talking about, Lewis, I knew you was going to be okay. They would have hurt you too bad not to. I was like, you sure right?
Exactly. It was like God was making you the man he wanted you to.
Yeah, so long story short, I am now proof.
Absolutely. Walking.
That the mind is stronger than the voice of the physician.
Yes, it is.
He goes by the same rules we go by
Yes, he does.
at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And so the knowledge that they get is knowledge that they are given through academia. Now let's look at it. How many of y'all have learned most of y'all stuff through academia? Let's just be real. Okay?
Yeah.
The street, hard knocks, lessons learned.
Lesson learned.
All right, has taught you more. And the things that you desire to know knowledge of, you welcomed, and it wasn't work. You understand? Well, now, you ask kids nowadays that. What they going to tell you, man? They don't have an idea, most of them. And the few that do, they seem to go up the ladder if they don't end up getting somewhere taken off the side by the negativity of somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know? Energy is everything. Energy is everything. And it's something that I talked to my fam about. You know, I'm learning now that our brains don't know the difference between us studying, a sword fight,
Mm-hmm.
a basketball, piano keys, and not just watching that person that does this, plays those keys, you tell them to do it 3 times a week for a month. The exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the guy next to him, I want you to go in that room. I don't want you to play those keys the same. You can play whatever you want to play, but you got to stay the same amount of time. Have number 3. Tell number 3, I just want you to watch number 1. Pay attention to everything number 1 does the same amount of time. And then number 4. Number 4, you don't even have to go in if you don't want to. The enabled.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it in our family. You know, we talk about family.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Enabled. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they come back and they study, and the scientists come up and find that the motor skills, 73% increase in number 1 who practiced.
Mm-hmm.
Not much anything in number 2. Number 3, who just watched, brain had the same increase.
Mm-hmm.
Right at.
Absolutely.
From just watching. Number 4 got nothing. Well, you were able to do everything, though.
Yeah.
But you ended up with,
Nothing.
I'm going to leave that alone. We'll talk about that later. So
that spirit you're talking about is powerful, because greater he that is in us than he that is in the world.
Exactly.
So when you elaborate on healing yourself, that's a whole nother ball game. I experienced something similar. I had a man throw me out of a car. These are on a highway. Never broke a bone a day in my life. But I spoke healing as I laid in that bed, in that hospital bed.
Mm-hmm.
I had road rash all over me. People asked, is this a birthmark? I was like, no, I tell my testimony. But it's so powerful what you're saying, because it starts with the manufacturer. And the manufacturer of our body is our Father, the Creator,
right,
who created the heavens and the earth. So that's why I asked you, Brother King, where did your spiritual life begin? What was God? When you say hard-headed, yeah, God got some hard-headed kids.
Yeah.
But that's where the medical, I believe, medical starts from. Before you came, I asked him about, did he know Dr. Henry?
Yeah.
And he delivered 2 of my babies.
Okay.
And Dr. Henry told me, he said, we were discussing my ovaries and a woman's, how she built.
Mm-hmm.
He said, a doctor can never do what God has put in you.
Right.
They can never rebuild it. That's where it comes. That's where you were talking about the medical and healing your body. It starts from believing in the Creator whom created your body, because we were all made different. I done went to the doctor. My blood pressure at home was fine. It was 119 over 78. Yeah. I get to the doctor.
And you got nervous.
145. It's
white coat hypertension.
It's hypertension.
I get that.
And they want them. They give me them pills. So
we named it. It is. It's a syndrome.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I get there, man, and I'm like, listen, when y'all start putting that restraint on me right there, man, I start thinking about, Adam 12 and 5-0. And,
I start praying
that's
for the doctor. Yeah,
that's restraint, man. So
but just elaborating on what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I what it did is it made me started to know that I am going to continue to learn, and I'm going to always be somebody who wants to learn. But now I want to learn what I want to learn, and what I wanted to learn was the hows and whys of things that people don't talk about.
That's right.
Okay. And what I can tell you is, they speak about, hey, he claimed this, he manifested, whatever you want to call, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, you asked for something and you got it. And so I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to get into that right now with you. I know how many people are so many different directions. I don't want to lose your ear on that. So what I'm going to say is this. At the end of the day, it's this. What you say and believe is what you will see.
Absolutely.
Okay? And the problem with that is this, people. We have habits that are called subconscious. Okay? Our subconscious don't just blink our eyes, taught us how to walk when we were crawling or where we can do that nowadays, how to whistle, how to sing, how to talk, how to drink water, how to breathe. That's all automatic. You're not thinking about most of that. Maybe which direction to go with your walk, but that's it. You see what I'm saying? What to drink. That's it. Those are the choices coming out. But your subconscious running all. It's like a computer in the background saying, hey, you program me, now let me work. You also program him when you get angry, when you say, I can't, when you say, it won't ever work.
I'm depressed.
Those I am statements. You're claiming things that your computer, that subconscious is saying, oh, let me start to give a signal.
Speak true.
Let me let the body feel like the mind is saying it wants to feel so that they're in sync. Now, let me do that enough times that it becomes a habit. Now that it's become a habit, you don't even have to think about it. Little triggers get you mad that remind you of something that you keep thinking about or is in your past computer.
Oh, stop hurting their feelings.
And the thing of it is, now you can jump into that heat hot quick. You got to understand this. You got to break the habit of being yourself. You got to be able to acknowledge that there are things that you don't like about yourself. And you don't have to tell nobody else this. So it ain't like you got to be, oh, I can't. No. You can talk to yourself, and if you can't talk to yourself, that ought to be the start. Getting to where you can. But understand this. You can't think about your current environment and think you're going to ever go anywhere farther, my people.
Insanity.
Because then what's happening is your environment is a stimulation of what you've been doing yesterday, the day before. When you get ready to go to school in the morning, you got dressed. You know where your shoes were, or you know how disordered you kept them. You knew where to go to get breakfast. You knew what time to be there. You're going to rush, or you're not going to rush. You're going to get there. You're going to go through the same routines. You're going to see the same people. You're going to have some of the same instances, a couple of new ones. You're going to get home, and you're going to rush to get home. So I can rush to get ready to get my homework, so I can rush to do what? Or work. So I can rush to get ready to do what? The next day's the same thing. Did anything change? And if it didn't, how are you expecting something to change? Where's it going to come from? We have to change that. I had to change it in me. I had to acknowledge it, and I had to get to a point where I understood that, how am I going to change? I started reading books. Books started telling me things like, we got to think in the future. You can't think in the day. Today, so many people, they say, that are thinking today are thinking about things that happened yesterday.
And then you can do about yesterday.
So basically, they like sitting here, but they like this in life.
Looking back.
So you don't know nothing about what's going on forward in front of you.
You're going to bump your head.
You don't know what's going on. You're going to bump into another instance of what's back there in the past that you've been through before.
Come on now.
You understand? And it's going to remind you that here we go again.
Here we go
But
again.
why is it here we go again?
Because they not tired yet. They
ain't acknowledged that it's them. I think.
Oh, that's powerful.
They have not acknowledged that they have created habits. And I asked my fam, I said, let me ask you this. We know how to walk now. We don't have to think about it. What if I told you to start from now on, starting today, going forward, the rule is you had to walk backwards. Everywhere you go, going forward. Think about that for a minute. Your body's sending signals right now. It all of a sudden starts, wait a minute.
Yeah, well, this time
concern hit. It starts sending a signal. You tense up just off of the idea of changing something as simple as that. Because what? The walking forward is now an addiction to the subconscious. That's what you do.
Yeah, it's a contradiction. Yes, it is.
anything that we change is going to be like breaking an addiction, people, and we just got to understand that. Don't beat yourself up. Understand that that's what it is, okay? And think ahead. Think into the future. Give me some examples of that. When Muhammad Ali was a kid, what did he used to say? He was going to be
fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
And the greatest. Didn't he say he was going to be the greatest?
I'm the greatest.
I'm the greatest.
I am the greatest.
Man, that's been years ago. He's dead and past. There's been several fighters and even possibly better records. We still consider him mostly
the greatest.
He claimed that.
He claimed it.
He claimed that.
He walk in it.
He claimed that. Beyonce said when she was a kid she wanted to be a famous singer. Mm-hmm. She's pretty famous.
Absolutely.
Martin Luther King, ahead of the game, had what?
A dream.
Which means his mind was thinking in the future tense,
Absolutely.
not in body text. He could visualize a better life.
Vision.
A different. Yes. Same thing Gandhi did. Same thing Joan of Arc did. They claimed a future that no one could see but them at the time. And the way this thing works, if you get into what they call quantum physics, I ain't getting ready to get into that with you right now because it take me 10 years to get it broke down. Mm-hmm. I'm still working on it. That's the magic of this thing. And we're going to learn that in time, people, because I see now as I go to see websites, they're teaching about future thinking. Think in the future. Believe in it. Listen, we've been doing it all the time. If you're religious, I believe in God. Yeah. I pray. That's right. I pray. It's faith in things. What? Unseen.
Unseen. John the Baptist said it.
Future. Yeah. So understand those things. Understand those things. We're just on the cusp of this. But we as a people, we as human beings on this planet need to think about it, man. You know, we're in this large universe where we can't even leave it. Because we got to breathe this air we got here. Ain't got but a third of this planet that's ours, and we fighting for it. And if we got along better, if we could figure out ways to get around some of the things that we do as opposed to some of the things that we don't do. Right now, we don't talk to each other no more. No one can talk. It's all I got mad. I'm in my feelings. I'm ready to fight or I'm ready to shoot and kill. What I was telling you about the brain thing, and the reason I said that about talking is because I think that's the time parents are going to have to talk to their kids about it. We've been giving our kids these fighting games. And I did it too. And I played them. And we get a stimuli to the brain when we were killing on this game. When we would pull the trigger, push the button. And when we would do that and we would shoot and we would kill something, we're getting stimulated because we're succeeding. Mm-hmm. We're succeeding.
And desensitized.
And there it is.
Yes, sir.
And what have we just talked about? The brain don't know the difference.
You don't know the difference at all.
Now, science has just come out and said that. So basically what science just said then, if that's true, as these kids who are going around with these guns, when they first make that shot, they're not in shock. They're stimulant.
That's right.
They're getting stimulant from what they've already been getting stimulant on for a long time, for years of video gaming.
That's why we're supposed to guard our hearts. Because what comes through the eyes, you can see through the heart.
Man, think about it, though. We ain't had nobody even question that. But it's too much money, maybe. I don't know.
It's too much. What? Right, Doc. Too much money.
It's always
the love of money is the root to what?
It's always about the money.
Yes, all evil. Money's not evil, but it's the love of it. When you rather give someone a prescription that they have to pay $399 for versus giving them an aloe vera plant versus giving them knowledge on what if you didn't go to the doctor and you just stopped eating all that garbage that you were eating and you start working out. I've been working out. That's been a part of my family. I just always knew to work out and drink a lot of water and all that. But in doing all that, I was thinking, am I still going to get diabetes and high blood pressure? But I had to look at myself to see what I was doing. The change and go grab the knowledge.
Is key, man.
Self-awareness. I didn't want to be no fat girl either and my man leaving me.
Well, that right there is acknowledging. You know, you had one of them cats that, You could have went out there and got one of them 120-pound dudes there.
Oh,
They like them. They like them when they get a little
thick.
borderline plump. I mean, you
Lord.
gonna say that, will
You gotta have some fun with it, kid. You
yeah,
gotta have
man.
some
I
fun
mean,
with
no,
it.
but listen,
No
peeps.
BBLs though.
No.
What do y'all think about that? I know you don't have much time, but
Well,
men, women getting that, doctor, as a BB, getting themselves cut and all them foreign objects.
Yeah, well, I don't like cosmetic surgery as a rule.
As a
Period.
high five
You know,
to you guys.
and so there are things that you can do to make your body more attractive. But to do surgery, I think that's extreme measure, and that's not where my focus on health and beauty come from. So,
And women, I was born with this rump I got. My legs, God made my hips and legs right for everybody can't hold this hump.
Yeah.
I'm just getting
yeah,
out.
no, I mean, yeah, I'm trying not to high side.
I'm just saying,
But no,
the leg got to match, bro.
Well, see, this is the thing. I've talked to a lot of ladies who've gotten it and they were successful for a couple of years what they had, and they had a little bit of self-esteem. Then now they're scared of what it's doing to their bodies. Jesus. And so it's a give and take, and it's not enough give for the taking, in my opinion. I don't need all that. Now, what we need to enhance on our bodies is our pineal gland. Okay?
Elaborate.
That's the third eye.
Oh, okay now.
Okay.
That's
the pineal gland is a pine cone shaped gland that's in our brain. That is basically our supercomputer for everything else.
Pineal gland.
It's a pineal.
Okay, I'm gonna get that from you.
Pineal.
Yeah, we used to call it the pineal.
Yeah, pineal. Okay.
Okay, teach me something. I'm be going. Where your pineal gland at? What you doing with it?
Well, and in the brain, it looks like an eye. It looks like it sits in there like an eye. It really does. When you go to sleep and when you dream, you're not using those external, and you don't need no ticket to travel. And it didn't take no time to get there.
Jesus.
Think about what I'm saying.
I done learned something today.
Think about what I'm saying. Because what I'm saying to you is, I got a feeling before it's all said and done. And that truth's going to come. We're going to find out. We had it in us all the time, and we just need to have it reprogrammed. It's the reason that they don't let that out. Your pineal gland gives you the ability to travel. Okay? The spiritual connections. They cutting that off. What is cut off with is called fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen. Fluoride in water, in your pipes, in your tooth. When you brush your teeth, it's right there. That fluoride's going where? Right up there, where that gland, and it sits right there. Up there. So it's going in there, and it coats it. And as it coats it, you lose the ability. Think about it when we were kids. Well, I did. I used to have dreams every night. Do you have dreams every night anymore?
I'm not every night.
Do you? I mean, how frequent do you, if you thought about it? I rarely come across a dream nowadays. I come across quick thoughts in my sleep, but a nice, good dream, it's coded.
Wow.
Okay, what you do is you lose it. So listen, it's been great. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to doing it again. I hope you come back. I hope you learned something.
Pineal gland.
Pineal gland. Let that be the key word for tonight. Thank you very much. Peace.